Definitely, and it can be related also like a massive, we could even call it a scourge in our society. We spoke about a bit earlier, but sugar as well. Like having to give up like a diet based on sugar, which for a lot of people is like means to an end for their lifestyle.
Yeah, well, you've got as much chance as asking a cocaine addict to give up cocaine. And I mean, that is not a metaphor, that is just pure science. There's a part in the brain, the nucleus accumbens, that's a part that lights up with any addictive tendency, whether it's gambling, sex, cocaine, heroin, whatever, does not matter. Sugar lights it up like a Christmas tree.
Right, okay.
You know, it really, and like I was saying to you before, the most dangerous drug is the most ubiquitous, but the most sort of, that's not a drug, it's just sugar. That's nothing. Really? Because when you look at the diseases it's causing, the mental states, it's a heavy drug. Yeah. And we've got our kids just jacked on the stuff.
Sure.
But we don't think it's anything. And like I was talking to someone the other day, you give it another 10 years, we'll be looking at sugar in our commercial food chain the same way as that back in the day when there was heroin and cough syrup. When there was Coca-Cola was cocaine and cola nut.
Sure.
We look back on that now and just laugh.
Yeah.
But we are doing the exact same thing now with having so much sugar around.
Right.
No doubt about it. It changes your emotional state, changes your biome faster than anything. Very inflammatory. It's crazy.
And it's a real, it's all well and good for us adults who we have got a greater option and ability to be able to look into it, change our dietary habits. But like when you look at the children and us like really enforcing this upon children with advertisements, making it, seem like it's like some sort of wonderland to go get this sugary snack or, and it's something that I've really been sort of thinking about, even struggling with of late, is like, how the fuck do we just we're sitting back as a society and just allowing this to happen, like allowing marketing.
Corporatocracy, man.
Corporatocracy.
It's
fast food, KFC.
And you don't need the glitzy advertising. It is a drug. It's the human being. If I've learnt one thing in 20 years of studying biology and the natural health systems, it's that we are a chemical reward system on legs. We don't do anything unless there's some sort of chemical reward.
Right.
That be dopamine most of the time, but serotonin. It's going to be some chemical that makes you feel good, and then that action is associated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
definitely.
like when you pour sugar in there, that is just blitzing the addictive. You know what I mean? Like we're in a really tough situation now. And then the other thing is you got a medical system that likes to label a disease state. Right? They label it and then they'll find and match a drug with that label.
Sure.
These are all symptomatic expressions of basic malfunctions in natural thinking and living.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
sure.
And sugar, problem with sugar, Alzheimer's. Right? Problem with sugar, you can get diabetes. You can get inflammation that's causing your joints to freak out. You can be a many thing, and the core problem that's holding it in can be just too many fast carbs and sugars.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Like because this insulin they call it now diabetes type 3 is Alzheimer's.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Type 3 now.
Yeah.
It's because we know now the brain mainly feeds off glucose, right? It can feed off ketones if you're clever.
Right.
You'll make it feed on fat.
Sure.
But
that's something we'll like to talk about a bit later on as well.
Yeah, well, that's where it's at too.
Cool.
But like, so what are we doing? What happens when we have all this sugar that breaks down too fast? You can't have too much sugar in the bloodstream. It just throws everything out of whack. So the hormone insulin rushes in to bind all the sugar to get it out of the blood, right? Now hormones are involved, okay? So now you've got powerful information chemical signals. And from there, you get a whole host of problems. Now with the brain, what's happening is that the brain is becoming insulin resistant. So the brain is starving because we keep feeding it these high octane, fast carbs, these sugars, and all of a sudden the hormone that's supposed to get the sugars into the brain cells is now not working. So these people with Alzheimer's are actually starving their brains to death.